Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm Barbara Vidos from the Co-op Program, and I'm the industry partner for the technology programs. I'd like to welcome you all to the Career Chat in Technology tonight. We were lucky to be able to line up some great speakers for you tonight who are going to talk about different career paths, of opportunities, and degrees in technology. I'm joined by Dr. Christine Van Toorn. She's a co-op coordinator for the Business Information Systems and Commerce Information Systems stream. We have our sponsor, Fiona Heron, who is a Senior Manager, Graduate Programs, Technology and Operations from the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. Shortly, Archie Chen from another sponsor company will be joining us as well, and he's a Senior Cyber Identity Manager. We have Kay Carey, who is the head of the Co-op program with us as well, and two of our scholars, current scholars. We have Jess Lawson, our final year Business Information Systems scholar, and Ian Nung, our final year Computer Science scholar. If you have any questions, and I can see that there are already some questions, yes, definitely pop them in the chat. We will be answering them throughout the session. But we will leave most of them for the end of the session, where we will answer, hopefully be able to answer most of them. If not, we will collect them, and we'll send you the links to the relevant websites or information where you can find that information. So the session is recorded. We will send you the link. So the link will go to everyone who is registered next week. We'll send it in an email to you and to your school's careers advisors. We will also send you the link to our YouTube Create Your Career or Career Chat channel, where we have a wide range of career videos by our alumni and our sponsors. And regardless of what you are interested in studying, I would encourage you to go and check them out. There are some great inspirational stories, so definitely worth checking out. Okay, we can start. I will just... Okay, so now you are at the end of your year 12, maybe 11, but at the end of the high school. And probably the landscape may look something a little bit like this. So lots of different roads, turns and choices. And at first, this can be somewhat confusing, overwhelming, and probably it seems very difficult to navigate at this stage. So what we'd like to stress tonight, that definitely there is no black and white, and definitely no right and wrong when it comes to choosing your career. Developing a career path takes a lifetime, and you don't have to make any critical life-changing decisions right now. Don't be constrained by traditional views, thinking that certain degrees will take you only into certain professions, certain careers. That is definitely changing. Careers are changing so fast that by the time you graduate, there'll be new careers and probably opportunities that you haven't even considered or dreamed of. So be open, be flexible, and don't get paralyzed by too many choices. That can be overwhelming. We do understand, but again, there are multiple ways to get to the same destination, and you'll hear from our speakers tonight as well. As I said, you don't have to have everything figured out right now, but what you need to figure out is where you want to launch from. So this is, requires a bit of a self-reflection and a few things to consider when choosing your career. So the first is talent. What are the talents that you have? So what do you do well? Some are like naturally, they're easily defined. You would through the high school or highlighted through high school or at home. But for some, you really need to go out and try new things to identify what you are good at. Values, what is important to you? And do you being paid well? Is that something that's like on top of your priority list of being creative? Do you see yourself working in the office from 9 to 5? Or you prefer like a different type of environment, traveling? So this is really some things to consider before you decide on your career. Interests. I think this is kind of a really important and worth reflecting upon. If you align your um, career with your interests and your passion and your values, you'll thrive in it. You will be more successful, and you will definitely, and which is I think most importantly, you'll be more fulfilled. So how do you know? And this can be, passion can be a big word, not many of us um, at times know what we are passionate about, but follow your interests. Like see, um, pay attention to what you spend your time and money on. So what do you find yourself Googling when you have, some time, and where does your mind go when you're kind of waiting in a queue? So these are the things that you are probably passionate about, and see, what are the opportunities out there? Where can you, when you pursue these things, how can you align all this? So once you have asked yourself all these questions, you'll have a lot of information to work with. And then you'll be able to narrow down and identify a few areas of interest in careers that you might want to pursue. And then where to go next? So find out more information. Identify people. I think it's really important. Identify people who are in careers that you want to be in. Like identify your professional heroes and talk to them. Reach out to people you know. Ask your family and friends to connect you with people that they know, and seek out mentors. If you can't find anyone in your immediate environment, then go online. There's so much information. Then find people that you're inspired by, listen to their talks, their interviews, podcasts, so much out there. And you'll definitely learn and get inspired and learn a lot from them. And get some life experience. See what you can do to broaden your skills and your network. So join a sports team, volunteer your time in a community group, apply for casual work. So study is really important, but that single focus will really not do you any favors in the long run. So students who are well-rounded, students who have who can balance different commitments, who have a wide variety of skills and varied interests, they have more opportunities in the long run. Like they get scholarships, they're more employable, and they perform better at university. So definitely seek out opportunities. Don't wait for opportunities to come to you. Go and look for them. And don't panic. So you have so much time. Don't panic. There's really no need to make one ultimate career decision right now. As we said, gather information and experience, and see that will help you launch your career. I will now hand over to Christine to talk about our technology programs. Thank you,
Hi, everyone.
Christine.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Now, my internet connection might not be very stable, as always. So please let me know if I am freezing. I will just turn off my video and I'll just keep on presenting. Thank you for that introduction, Barbara, into what I guess students really sort of need to look for when deciding what career path to take. So I look after the information systems programs, and there's a couple of questions I saw in the Q&A, sort of what's the difference between BIS and CIS, and hopefully as I go through, I will clarify that. And if I don't, then we can go on to that direct question at the end. So I have been in the School of Information Systems and Technology Management for a long time. My background is industry. The last job I had was at Deloitte as a consultant. I've worked in manufacturing. I've worked in the financial sector. I've worked in lots and lots of different areas in terms of my time at consulting. So I've actually seen information systems become more and more, or technology become more and more prevalent and more important, and more part of everyday life and part of everything that we do. So if you're thinking about a career in information systems or in technology, I certainly think that that's a fantastic idea in terms of if that's what you're passionate about. It's an area that you will always have a job to go to. And it's also an area where we say to our students, a lot of the times the jobs that you may well do when you leave university haven't really been identified as jobs at the moment. Okay, so on that, on that previous slide, we have the 4 programs in technology. So we have the business information systems, commerce information systems, computer science, and software engineering. I look after the first 2. I can talk a little bit about computer science and software engineering, but Ian, I may be looking to your brain's trust. I'll, call a friend, so to speak, to provide some more information. But basically, the first 2 are more focused on the business aspect and the people aspect, and the latter 2 are more focused on the technology aspect and maximizing what you can get or what we can get from the technology perspective. So what is information systems? I guess the most important thing about information systems is ensuring that what we create for the user is the way that the user wants to access it, make use of it. It's about the usefulness of the final product for the user. So if I can give you a very quick analogy, if I'm in the discipline of computer science or software engineering, my main agenda may be to ensure that the system is the most efficient in terms of speed and accessing the latest technological advancements. And my main concern when I'm an information systems specialist is to make sure that the system actually emulates the way that the user thinks, so that the look and feel of the system is so that the user is able to understand it, use it, make sense of it, and that it helps the business to transform. Ensuring that organisations can meet their sustainability targets, can exceed. My internet connection is unstable. Let me stop
Yeah,
this
maybe
video.
if you turn the video.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So looking at meeting sustainability targets or making sense of the data that I have in terms of big data and analytics so that I can use that data to actually identify more areas to expand my sustainability agenda. Of course, sustainability is just one of the things, but I can see that that's a very big thing. It started many years ago as Green IS. However, now it's changed to, we've aligned ourselves closer to the United Nations and the sustainability goals that the United Nations put out there. It's about managing and storing information securely. So the best person to talk to you about that later, you can ask Jess, because she's had a lot of experience in this space. She's done quite a few she's done her 3 industry placements, of course, and she's also doing her honours thesis. And security, cybersecurity is a main passion of Jess's. And again, professional skills for a world of information and innovation. One of the things that's really important, and in the question, it said, what do the sponsors really look for? Well, a lot of the sponsors will say, I do want you to be smart. I do want you to have a university degree or some knowledge of learning how to learn, being able to learn, to show me that you can do that. But I can teach you most of the technical skills I need you to have. I am interested in your attitude. I'm interested in your interest in the area. I'm interested in how you work as a team member. I'm interested in how committed you are to this particular field. I want to see someone who's inquisitive, someone who asks questions, who has a passion, and who's willing to roll up their sleeves and be part of the team. That's a really big thing. And again, I'll leave it to Ian and Jess to talk a little bit about that. And also, you know, Fiona and Archie in terms of what does industry sort of really want and want to see. Next slide, please, Barbara. Okay, so these are some of the sectors that we have, or excuse me, industry sectors that we have within the BIS and the CIS co-op programs. So as you can see, it's wide and varied. So it's not just the financial services. It's not just consulting. We also have an international pharmaceutical company. We have government organisations. We have retail sector. We have manufacturing companies that actually produce a physical product, publishing, media. So you'll get an opportunity to work across a wide range of industries and different sponsors. The co-op office do an absolutely amazing job in going out there and getting new sponsors all the time, not just renewing the current sponsors that we have, but also getting us new sponsors. A lot of our sponsors come from our alumni connections and our networks. And I guess that's one of the things as well. When you choose a career, it's about making sure that you are prepared to network and get to know people, meet with them, meet with like-minded people, help each other and share knowledge with others, because by sharing, someone else will share with you, and that's the best way for all of us to learn. Okay, next slide, Barbara. Thank you. So, all right. Ian, are you comfortable talking to this? I'll talk to it, but I think you might be better off than me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to go now? Or?
Yes, please.
Oh, right. So I guess a lot of you, or when I was in high school, when I was deciding between computer science and software engineering, I came back to the question a few times of like, what's the difference between computer science and software engineering? Having gone through the degree in the past 4 years, I'd say they actually are very similar. In terms of, if you actually want to break it down to the definition, I'd say computer science is a bit more theoretical than software engineering. Software engineering, I think, is a bit more hands-on and practical. But in terms of the actual work you do at university and what you do on the job, having a degree in computer science versus having a degree in software engineering is almost identical. If you want to break it down into the degrees itself specifically, I'd say computer science, you'd have a lot more freedom in the courses you can pick, and whereas software engineering, the degree is a lot more structured. So you'd have specific courses for software engineering, whereas computer science, you don't have those specific courses. So at university, a computer science could kind of freely pick a little bit more flexible, different courses that aren't offered for software engineering students. That's kind of my version of the difference between computer science and software engineering.
Okay. I'm just going to stop my video because, yeah. So these are some of the companies that we have. As you can see, one of the major differences is we have telco companies here and we have technology companies. We have had telco companies across the BIS and CIS programs, but of course the students went to work in very different sectors. So we've had Telstra, we have Optus as well within our streams. In fact, I think Optus is pretty amazing. I think they're across most of our co-op programs. And then logistics is one of the areas where I think computer science and software engineering is really heavily involved. Okay, so logistics is about maximizing, maximizing freight, maximizing getting a product from A to B, and that's more like a physical product. And so that's highly intricate mathematical formulas. And so the computer science and the software engineering co-ops are more suited to that kind of work. Of course, within logistics, there's also a marketing team. There's also a finance team. So it depends which team that scholar gets allocated to. Okay. All right. So that's the end for me. The last thing I wanted to say, I think maybe Jess can also talk to the students about what the difference is between the BIS and the CIS. And if there's still some other questions on that, I'm happy to hop in. at the end.
Thank you, Christine and Ian. Yeah, that was wonderful. Definitely, I'm sure we'll have more questions that we'll be able to answer, but also all the information is on our website. Go to UNSW website for any detailed information about the degrees here. I would like to ask Fiona to talk about career opportunities in general, but in particular at CBA. So I have your slides.
Thanks, Barbara. How long do I have? I forgot to ask you this before I joined, so
I don't know, 10 minutes.
Should I just check? Okay, good. That's probably about how long I would talk, but I was writing up some notes and just wanted to make sure I didn't go too long, but feel free to interrupt me if I'm going too long.
No, and you tell me when to move to the next slide. Yeah.
No worries. You're welcome to go to the first slide. So hi everyone, I'm Fee Heron. My pronouns are she, her. I am a person with a disability. I have low vision, and I really thank you for your understanding and acceptance of me. So I'm unable to look at the screen into the camera and my notes, and I really wanted to hit a couple of key points because I really love being part of this type of presentation, and really excited to try to help you in finding that career path. As Barbara said, I'm the Senior Manager of the Technology and Operations Graduate Programs at CommBank. We have quite a few programs, so they're two very different programs. There's actually quite a few different ones at CommBank, but I'm going to really focus in on technology here for some stats that's probably, I would say, 70% of the graduates we currently have, and that's really going to grow. Of the hundreds of grads that we bring in, the majority are technology. And I think a lot of people get surprised by that a bank is mostly hiring sort of engineers and cybersecurity people and data scientists. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time elaborating on that, but also talk through some of career pathways and some general advice, because I think there's a lot of stuff that applies across all. So Senior Manager of a graduate program, what does that mean? It really means I get to help people early in their career find that career path. There's stacks that go into it, but what it boils down to for me, and what I encourage you to find, is what makes you log on every day to work, what gives you that motivation. So for me, it's about helping people and helping people find their career paths, and it really makes a big difference. Thanks, Christine. I was about to say, time to the next slide. Starting with some advice on owning your career. I'm not a tech person myself professionally, but personally, massive nerd. I'm a nerd who loves puzzle solving. And what I've come to learn through my career path is that the puzzles I'm best at is people. So taking in a person, going, I think you'll be really good at that, and I can really do that well, and I've built up that skill. But at its core, it's puzzle solving around people. I've tried lots of different jobs to get there. Before kind of working in talent, or what you might hear as human resources. And because that style of kind of learning journey works for me, I was definitely one of those kids that resonated with me earlier, Barbara, those kids feeling frozen by choice at the end of high school, not knowing what I want to do. I really need to try lots of different things before I pick what I like. And that's okay. And I think having some foundations, having some basic things, it's okay to move around. I'm surrounded by tech people in my life. Literally, my entire family are engineers or teachers. Most of my friends are in the games and entertainment industries. So it's been a really deliberate move for me to find what I like first, and then finding that, okay, I'm good at that mix of people and talent, and then working somewhere I love, which I love tech, I love engineers. So, having that curiosity, taking that time to look at that, it's taken me time to work through finding then somewhere like CommBank where I feel so valued and I get to contribute to that is so important. So I don't expect that particular career path might appeal to any of you if you're thinking about technology, but the lessons that I've got up there with the 4 lessons are the same. Being curious about trying different things, whether it's lots of different things, or curious about different areas you're passionate about, or really honing into that and thinking broadly of like, what is everything in software? What are all of the many different types of jobs in cyber? Unpicking that, finding work that you value and a workplace that values you. This makes such a massive difference, and you really deserve to work somewhere that deserves your input. And I'm very, very grateful to say I work somewhere now where I feel so valued and contribute and can see how I make a difference for people. And unfortunately, I have worked a few places that I didn't feel that, and it's one of the biggest differences that you can get. Sticking with the ups and downs and knowing that you'll get through them. As we've talked about a little bit already, careers are really long, and you'll have times where you won't love what you're doing. Everybody does. And being okay with that and sticking with it learning from it and being ready to okay, it's time for the next thing. How can I learn from that and move on? And being yourself. I think Barbara and Christina both mentioned, it's really great to get advice from people, but bringing you and bring you to the table. So I'm going to really say what Christine said of what an employer looks for. I am looking to understand those qualities that you have that I can't teach you. I can open your mind to the different concepts and expose you to learning and training, get you certified in Agile or AWS and cloud, and put you in teams developing apps or ethically hacking or many, many other different types of things. But I'll go into that a little bit more later. But unless you're curious and resilient and have some grit, you can't own your career. What I'm not worried about, and I always like to distinguish, and I haven't put it up there, is I do not care if you're introverted or extroverted. So to all my fellow introverts out there, it's okay. You don't have to be extroverted to own your career and succeed. You can have all of these things in a way that's authentic to you, and it's okay to be a little bit shy or quieter, but finding your way to do that and have your voice is really, really important. And I wish someone had told me that earlier in my career. Coming into the next slide, Christine, to deepen into technology, we have a quote on the right from one of our distinguished engineers, which is kind of the most elite level of industry recognized engineer that you can be. And we have a number at CommBank, and it's such a privilege to work with them and hear their insight from what they've learned across many different areas. And the technology is no longer part of the business. It is the business, and that's the appeal, the impact you can have in technology. That is what the business is. That is where we're going in the future. The opportunity for you to change lives and build that future, all purely based around technology. The challenge for you obviously is finding where you fit into that, and that's a difficult thing that you have to find that pathway for yourself. And specifically technology at CommBank, we have that impact and then scale. So we really get to think about the financial needs of everybody and how are we recovering as a country from all of the disasters from the last few years, and how we can get to support that, the millions of customers that we support. So that's customers like you and your family, the big and small businesses that you interact with, the way those businesses interact with each other, we have an impact on that, the way we work with businesses and governments to build this bright, sustainable future for our country. That's the type of scale that we're talking about, and that is all deeply embedded around technology, how we work with that, how we work as a business, how we support those things. Coming into the next slide, I'm going to throw a huge amount of job types at you just to see if anything grabs at you, because sometimes you can see that. And if this gives you any inspiration of things to explore, please do. There's all sort of job titles that are out there in industry and things that you can do. Really the point here is that the career opportunities are endless. I should probably have that on the right. We have one of the biggest cyber functions in the Southern Hemisphere. We hire close to 100 engineers a month, and that's not quietening down anytime soon. Can I tell you, in the some of the meetings I have about where we're growing for grads, it's huge growth, and particularly around engineering. And this opportunity to build the future of Australia, particularly through data, the unique view that we have and the partnerships we have is so phenomenal. So obviously my lens here is quite focused on engineering, cybersecurity, data science, but there's a whole breadth about that. There's so much more. We have over 50,000 employees at CommBank. 10,000 of those are in technology. They're not all engineers and cybersecurity and data scientists, but that is the lens in which I look through. And if I had to sort of say pick an area of technology to go into, selfishly, I'm going to say that with my CommBank hat on. But even with that off, I think that's really, those three give you such a good baseline to explore different things. And coming back to my first point, that curiosity, getting out there, getting amongst it, being open to the ideas, but we definitely need you in technology. We need your bright minds to build our bright future. That's for everybody, but that's regardless of where you work. That's really what we need to all work together on. I think my last slide is just a couple of links and things, if I've nailed my timing. Yes. So hopefully Barbara will share this. This is just some further inspiration. CommBank support a magazine called Careers with STEM that you may or may not have already seen. We've got the links in there to the most recent issues. As a sponsor of it, we get to say who's on the cover and who's featured. So very exciting, unique part of CommBank is you might be able to be in there one day. In the cyber issue coming up, we actually have an alumni from the comp sci degree at UNSW Co-op going to be, I'm not sure if she's on the cover yet, but she's definitely in it. We have a couple of virtual experiences through Forage. So a lot of companies do, so highly recommend having a good look around Forage. The one we've got there is a little bit more end of university ready for work, but it's a good insight if you're sort of trying to think ahead and that appeals to you. We do also have a high school level and a uni level software engineering one that we're launching later in the year to keep an eye out for, but there's a huge amount of different virtual experiences out there. And then again from CommBank, just to hear from some of the people who are the tech people in engineering, cyber and data science or data and analytics more broadly, a couple of YouTube links for your playlist to have a look and have a listen to some of the people who are working in those areas. That was it from me, Barbara.
Thank you so much. That was fabulous. Yes, we will share this with everyone here tonight, but also with everyone who has registered and their schools and careers advisors. So. I would like now to hand over to Archie. I think he has joined us.
Yes, I'm online. Sorry, I was a little bit late tonight.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, cool. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you today. My name is Archie. I'm currently the Senior Cyber Identity Manager at AMP. In short, I look after an application called Identity. In our terms, identity covers both our staff identity, so all the internal staff members, as well as our customers. So these are the end customers accessing our online digital channels. So we manage their identity, safeguard the assets, and make sure that the credentials are not securely stored with us, and also at the same time try to provide the best user experience that we can for the users, both the customer and the staff. That's what I do in a nutshell. We can go into a bit more details, but I think for the purpose of tonight, that's all I'm going to say. Happy to take questions in the end. In terms of AMP as a sponsor for the with the UNSW Co-op Program for some time, I actually sort of joined the space in terms of working with the interns and Barbara basically this year. But so far I've had the amazing experience working with about 3 or 4 amazing candidates from the UNSW program. I can say it's a very, very good program for uni students to get a feel of what it's like working in the industry. Tonight, my purpose here is to just talk briefly about how I came to where I am today, and potentially give you some of my thoughts. You might consider that advice, or to me, just some of my thoughts as to might be useful for you to decide your decision in which degree you choose, as well as probably some of the career opportunities that may exist or that currently exist. We live in a very fast-moving world. There's new roles created every year and roles disappearing every year. So, but I can probably talk to you what I think other roles for now and potentially for the future. So really briefly, myself, I started as a graduate. I started on the graduate program at AMP quite a long time ago now, about 14 years ago. I was a technology graduate from a university in Melbourne, and then was sort of selected into the grad program here in Sydney. I moved over here, did a few rotations, worked across, I started in a data team, worked over then into the digital technology team, integration team, and somehow ended up in the cybersecurity team. So I guess the main point here is I never really planned my career to be in cyber, although it is one of the red hot areas right now. It's just, I guess, one of the amazing things about, for me, it's one of the amazing things about working in a technology, in technology these days. Like your opportunities are limitless. It's actually kind of difficult to actually plan it. These things just happen. I've been in cyberspace for about 3 years now. Compared to my colleague, compared to a lot of, oh, sorry, my son's just joined me. Compared to a lot of my colleagues in cyber, my experience is sort of a little bit limited, but yeah, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to work in this space. Oops, sorry, he just woke up, I think. Hello, I'm just having a meeting. Cool, next. In terms of the opportunity about the company, so we are a financial services company. You may or may not have heard of us. We've gone through a few ups and downs in the last 10 years, or at least in the 14 years that I've been with the company. I think the good thing about AMP in short is we're not as large as a CommBank or a Westpac in that regard, but we're sort of slightly larger than a smaller company. What this allows us to do is to actually experience with technology. So, for example, we are probably one of the first few, I'd say, if not the first, one of the first few financial institutions that host all of our infrastructure in the cloud. So in the Amazon and Microsoft Azure world. Today, we've actually got about, well, my stats could be wrong, but over 90% of all of our workloads hosted in AWS cloud, which actually means there's a lot of opportunity for technology people passionate about technology to learn about cloud computing, develop skills, and also sort of experiment as well. Over the years, we've had a lot of people coming in, sort of learning about cloud, experimented, and then obviously develop their skill sets and then move on. So for that, in that regard, I think we're sort of like a good, we offer a lot of good opportunities in that area, just working with new technology, cloud technology. And because we are sort of relatively small in size as well, we're more willing to try things. We've had we call it not exactly the Google fail fast kind of model or programs, but it's the same mentality. We want to try new emerging technology, try things, see if it works for us, get some lessons learned. Not everything's going to work out in the end, but through the process, we get a good understanding of the technology as well as process and people sort of lessons throughout that process. Now, in terms of the career opportunities you've seen in the previous slide offered by Fiona, I think that's probably just a tip of the iceberg in terms of the number of roles. Like, I've worked with data, digital integration, and cyber. I can say over the years I've seen lots and lots of titles. We create lots of titles. We rename a lot of titles. But yeah, these days there's a lot of opportunity working, for example, for the co-ops, that UNSW co-ops that come to our company in right now. We offer a lot of opportunities in the data analytical space. That's a really red hot area. You don't have to be a data scientist to be in this area. We offer anything from data analysts to obviously a bit more sophisticated data analysis roles. Digital technology. Digital is always a red hot area. You get to either develop your skills in web development, front end development, back end development, app development, and just working using latest agile methodologies to try to improve speed to market, etc., etc. In the cyberspace, we've got actually the cyber team that I'm in. We've grown from about 5 people when I started to about 45 people as of today. We've got cyber protection services, cyber detection services, response services, assurance services, identity, which is where I come from, as well as awareness, threat intel. There's a whole range of opportunities for university students. And because of these new roles, fairly new, we don't really have a specific requirement to say you have to have done a computer science or degree or having to have done cybersecurity to be considered. From a grad or from a intern perspective, we are quite open to people that are curious about technology. So this comes down to sort of what sort of people we look for. Curiosity for us is one of the biggest things in technology, especially coming from young people. We found that our grads and our interns are probably some of the most curious that we've seen in a company. They come with a lot of enthusiasm and drive. And that's what your teams or future employees really love. love to see. So curiosity, obviously hard work with technology, like anything else. It comes with practice. I talked about our sort of adventure into cloud, new technology. A lot of it is just through iterations. Each iteration you get some new lessons learned and keep improving on yourself. That's really important. So as well as resilience, I think someone talked about resilience before. Resilience is very important in career, because things are not always hunky-dory. You do experience setbacks, you do experience disappointments, surprises. It's actually how you sort of handle the situation, how you handle yourself, get yourself back up and keep pushing on. That's probably very, very important. So yeah, so that's pretty much my spiel on who I am and what we can expect from AMP, as well as from the various technology degrees.
Thank you so much, Archie. I'm sure there'll be some questions later. Haven't checked, but yeah, we'll go to questions at the end. Just go to the next slide. So I will ask Jess. Jess is our Business Information Systems Scholar, to talk about her experience.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. It's really exciting to be here tonight. I remember being in your shoes in year 11 and year 12 and not really knowing what to do and where my life was going. But yeah, similarly to what everyone else has said, the biggest piece of advice I can give is do something that you're interested in. And it's okay if it's not like your dying passion, like if you don't know exactly what you want to do, as long as you're kind of interested, or as long as you think, you'd be interested, it's a good start, right? For me, what I did was I picked a flexible degree. So information systems, in my eyes, is quite flexible. There's been a lot of conversation around the difference between all the different technology degrees. From my perspective, my understanding, computer science and software engineering are a bit more about like, what can we do with technology? Whereas commerce information systems and business information systems are more about what should we do with technology. So for me, it's really about adding value to an organization and how can you ensure that the technology is working for an organization rather than just something that people thought would be good and then it fails. In terms of the difference between commerce information systems and business information systems, commerce information systems allows you to do a double degree. So if one of your degrees would be information systems, and then you can major in a second thing. So you major in like economics or accounting or marketing or something like that. So if you say kind of computer science and software engineering is the most technical, and then business information systems, we do a pretty even amount of technical coding subjects, and then also like business, we do a bit of economics, a bit of accounting, a bit of management, a bit of process reengineering, and then commerce information systems is even further on that business side. So if you really, really don't like coding, but you are interested in IT and want to kind of be in IT, commerce information systems is the way to go. Also similar to kind of what Ian and Archie were saying, when it comes to like grad recruitment and getting a role, your degree is only important in terms of, is it something to do with technology? So from my experience, anecdotally, there's not a huge difference between information systems and computer science or software engineering or whatever. The opportunities are there, and as we've heard tonight, the organizations know that they'll teach you the technical skills that you need. So I wouldn't be too concerned about picking the wrong one. You can't go wrong. But for me, I liked information systems because it had that breadth of IT and business. It was a bit more flexible, and it was really about it's everywhere. Like Fiona's that quote that Fiona had, which was brilliant. Tech is now the business. It's so true, especially post-COVID. 100% everything is about technology nowadays. So even if you want to work in healthcare, but you don't want to be a doctor, you could go into IT and work in the healthcare industry, or work in a hospital to improve their systems and make them more efficient and help with patient care. And that's part of what I was doing on my first placement at MSD, which is a pharmaceutical company. I was a business analyst, and that was my job. I was helping to improve, our healthcare and our processes and everything to get our products to consumers when they needed them. but I was doing it from an IT perspective, right? But my big passion, honestly, is cybersecurity, and that's what I did at Westpac ISG. I absolutely loved it, and I was working as a information security analyst, and then I finished off in my third placement as a tech risk consultant at EY. And so the co-op program honestly changed my life. It was really amazing. The opportunities that you get are things that you just can't get if you're not in this program. And being able to really look at, like, experience 3 different roles, 3 different teams, industries, organizations, having 3 different career paths kind of laid out for me in terms of this is what your life would actually be like, and learning the skills and understanding, how these teams operate. And the biggest thing that the biggest kind of value that I got was from meeting people in the organization. So even if you're there, like in the tech risk team, for example, you can talk to the people in the cyber teams and in the engineering teams or in the economic teams, like whatever. That's the really great opportunity about this program specifically. It gets your foot in the door, and then you meet everyone else, and those contacts come back to you. So for example, with my grad recruitment for this year, it's been honestly overwhelming. The number, every single manager I've had has come back to me offering me a role. Most people that I've worked with have come back to me, even just to be like, hey, are you coming back to the organization? Like the amount of offers that you get are really overwhelming, and it's really exciting. And it's just like, I did not think I would be in this position where I am right now. And in general, like STEM, there's so many opportunities in STEM. It's a growing field, and it's not going away. It's only getting bigger. So if that's something that you're really concerned about, like job security, I know is something that really scares a lot of people, careers in STEM can be really valuable. The last thing I want to say, just in case there's anyone out there thinking this, when I was in your position in year 12, I was thinking, I'm not good enough. Like there's no way I'm going to get into this program. Maybe I shouldn't even bother applying, blah, blah, blah. That kind of imposter syndrome is something that you have to get comfortable with, because what I've realized is that every step of my life, I feel like that. In my first industry placement, I didn't think I'd be able to do it. And then I did really well. And then going into my second industry placement, I didn't think I'd be able to do it, So you just have to have a go, right? And you have to give yourselves the opportunities to have other opportunities, right? You have to try and apply for things and just do the best you can. And what you learn from that, the only way to get good at interviewing is to interview, so having that practice is incredibly valuable. And I think that's something that stuck with me throughout my university life. And I think that has really helped me to achieve where I am today as well. So I'll pass on to, I think that's kind of my time. Happy to answer any questions later, but hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into what it looks like to work in IS or to study IS.
Oh.
Sorry, I skipped the slide. Thank you so much, Jess. Ian, I'll go back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yes.
I guess I'm just lucky
Thank you.
last. Hey everyone, my name's Ian. I'm a 4th year computer science co-op scholar. I'm from Adelaide, and I finished high school in 2018, so I'm in the same year as Jess. I actually just handed my last assignment in like 2 weeks ago, so technically that actually makes me a co-op alumni, but also makes me feel kind of old. So instead, let me tell you why I chose to study computer science. So 4 years ago, I was pretty much exactly in your position, sort of. You see, I actually wanted to study pharmacy up until April of year 12. And then I decided to do this huge 180 and switch to computer science. And my main reason for kind of turning my back on the pharmaceutical industry, I guess, was because I realized that I really just wanted to be part of the tech industry. In my eyes, it's like the hottest field to be in right now. I mean, you're working with the future. The skills you pick up from it, they're the most in demand and sought after. And there are so many companies you could potentially work for, like Google, Facebook, Amazon. Literally just pick up your phone, go through any app you've installed. I guarantee you all of them are hiring. Surprisingly though, computer science wasn't my first pick. It wasn't even my second pick, actually. I was terrified of coding. I remember telling myself, oh, I've never coded before. and it'd be too hard to learn and we should just stick to something that I'm good at, which at the time was maths and physics. So I started to look into pursuing degrees in maths or degrees in engineering. And then from that, I looked at jobs, like what kind of jobs those degrees could lead me to. And so I found roles like data scientists, data analysts, electrical engineers. And then I was pretty set on, I guess, taking maths in university. But again, there was this little part of me that really wanted to become a software developer because I just loved the idea of coding. I mean, you're working with software and apps that billions of people use every day. Like, I don't know, how cool would it be to say like, oh, I helped build Be Real, or I worked on that new TikTok update. I also really like the idea that you could kind of just take your laptop and go anywhere in the world and kind of clock in for work. Like you could code on a beach, you could code it in a cafe, you could code it in another city, in another country, which kind of already sounded like 10 times better than anywhere a pharmacist will ever work in their career, no offense. But there was also, again, that voice in the back of my head that kept saying, we don't know how to code and we've never coded before. And then one day I challenged that voice. And I remember saying to myself, like, yeah, that's true. We've never coded before. But a year ago when I was in year 11, I didn't know what differential calculus was. I didn't know what integration was. But right now I'm pretty good at it. So then it hit me, just because I didn't know how to code doesn't mean I'd never be good at it. So I kind of took a bet on myself and decided that I was going to pursue a career in software engineering just because I felt like it. And through that, I was going to study computer science. So if we fast forward 4 years, here I am. I've finished my degree in computer science and I've completed the co-op program. I've worked as a software engineer in 3 different companies, WiseTech Global, Westpac, and NRMA. I've built software for shipping cargo. I've worked on the Westpac banking app. I've built websites to help manage server costs. I've even built my own web application on the side to find me new songs on Spotify every single day. I'm working as a junior software engineer at WiseTech right now, and in 5 months' time, I'll be starting full-time at Google as a software engineer, working in the Google Maps product area. In retrospect, I'd say that the bet I took on myself 4 years ago turned out pretty well. But one thing I wish I knew in high school was that coding is like a very small part of software engineering. I'd say the best software engineers are a combination of skills such as coding, but also communication, problem solving, creativity, resourcefulness. But most importantly, I think the skills that Fiona was talking about that can't be taught, it's just being able to have an open mind and being a fast learner. Because if I'm going to be completely honest with you, university just barely scratches the surface of what you'll actually be doing on the job. It's like kind of being taught how to build a go-kart and then going out and being expected to go build a car. So being a fast learner, which I don't doubt any of you are, will actually get you pretty far into computer science, even if you don't know how to code. So even if you do or don't end up pursuing a career in technology after tonight, the one thing I actually really hope all of you end up taking away is that you don't have to know something or be good at something in order to learn it. That's like the entire point of learning. So take it from me as someone who graduated high school somewhere at the top of their class, but then started university virtually at the bottom, to now finishing university with a job lined up at, you know, one of the biggest tech companies in the world, that the move that you're too scared to make might just end up being the game changer. You never know. So that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Ian. And Ian will be answering questions at the end as well. I will just quickly say a few words about the co-op program. I don't know what I can say to beat what our scholars and our sponsors have already said about the program. They have talked about it and talked about the value it adds. But one of the vehicles to a great career is definitely co-op program. If you're considering, please apply. The deadline is end of September. So we are looking forward to receiving your application. So what is the co-op program? It is a career development program. We offer up to 18 months of real work experience with our industry partners. And in addition to that, there is a lot of leadership and professional development that comes, and especially in your first year, a lot of networking and mentoring opportunities as well. And of course, the financial support is there for the duration of your degree. So as you have heard and seen, and you can go to our website, we work with all the best in the industry. Our industry partners are amazing across different areas. So definitely encourage you to apply. Yeah, so it's not only hard work, there is a lot of fun as well. And the scholars will be able to tell you about that as well. We are here, so if you would like to come, you can always give us a call. We have a website, you can go and check out. If you have any questions, give us a call, but we will also be on campus on the 3rd of September for open day, and we'll have our scholars there, so please come and talk to us. That is it. I think we can go to questions. Ian, would you like to just go through a couple, and then we can
Yeah, sure.
and you can direct them to any of us. I think
Yeah.
most of them are for you guys, for you and Jess.
What extracurriculars have the co-op scholars done in high school? So when I was in high school, I was very involved with my sport. So I listed sport as an extracurricular. I did a lot of volunteering for my school. So my school actually didn't really have anything like prefects or captains. So that wasn't really an extracurricular activity I could list. But what I did was I just did volunteering within my school. So I put my hand up to do school tours. I put my hand up to help out in like bake sales. Oh, I'm trying to think what else I did extracurricular as well. But at the moment right now, it's kind of just volunteering in school, sports. I think I had one more, but off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in there as well, because I feel like a lot of people, when they talk about this in high school, they're like, oh, if I'm not school captain, then I can't apply for a scholarship. You know, like I have to be school captain, or I have to be this or whatever. And I think it's less about what did you do and more about what did you learn from what you did. So my extracurriculars were similar. I did I did sport. I was refereeing netball, and I did do charity work as well. Gosh, I've forgotten what them all. Chess. I did chess. But it was more about like, what did I learn from those experiences, and how did that make me grow as a person? So I definitely, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not school captain, so I won't, try, as in I won't, apply for this scholarship, I would discourage that kind of thinking, because it doesn't, there's so many different things that you can do. Also the ATAR question, it's 96.00, right? That's the ATAR for co-op.
Yes, so that's across all streams, yes. Unless the degree requires a higher ATAR.
Yeah.
That's okay. There is a question about double major in CIS and BIS.
Yes. Okay, cool. Christine, feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably know more about CIS than I do. So BIS does not have a double major. BIS is a single degree. So in BIS, you just do information systems, and you get more electives. There's a question as well at the top around how do double majors work? Mm-hmm. So my understanding of double majors is, well, okay, so my single degree has core subjects and then like electives, and you can pick, 3 out of 5 electives or whatever it is. And then you also have general education subjects, right? So for a double major, essentially, you'd still do the core subjects of both degrees, but then you get less electives. So you get less, kind of things that you choose from. Yeah. Thanks, Christine. Good that I've got that right. And yeah, my understanding for CIS as well is that you don't, you're not expected right now in high school to be like, here are my 2 majors. Even for, just a normal kind of commerce degree, you pick your majors in your first year. So there's flexibility around that. And you can also, like, if you do CIS, then you start with information as one of your majors, and then you have time to pick a second one as well. So don't stress about that. This is the biggest thing that I hear high school students talk about. They're like, I have to pick it right now. No, you don't. Like, relax, okay? Just kind of, even if you pick something and then you're like, this isn't for me, you can change later. Like, there's time, there's opportunities, you know, don't stress about it. Yeah, just have a go, right? Figure out what you might want to do and have a go.
Great, thank you. Christine, is there anything you wanted to add? No.
No, couldn't have said it better myself, Jess. Thank you.
Fiona, I think there's a question on explaining the role of an insight explain the role of an insight analyst and a data scientist. These were some roles on your slide.
They were, but can I handle that question to Archie? Because I think he's way more insightful from the business side, and I know he said he'd worked in that space. Okay. I don't think I'll do it a great service if Archie's still on.
Yeah, I'm still on. I was actually thinking about that question. It's a tough one because I don't think there's a clear delineation between the two, to be honest. I think I've seen used sort of interchangeably here. Like, for example, AMP, I don't believe we've got an insight analyst. We do have a few data analysts, data scientists roles. If I was to sort of put my betting hat on, I reckon the insight analyst probably sort of derives on the insights coming from your data analysts and provide some guidance, recommendations on way forward. Whereas the data scientist is probably just more sort of a generic mining your vast information web and trying to come up with potential or just information or insights. Sorry, that's my very high level view of it.
I've just remembered a good analogy.
When I was in the data space, we didn't have those roles back then. So
well, exactly. They're up and coming. I've just remembered a good analogy that someone had used to explain to me as well, sort of the difference that might help this group as well. So we talk about the data palm tree. So the data, like the trunk of the tree that's taking in the nutrients, that's getting all of the core stuff, that's kind of your data scientists. The insights analysts are the palm fronds, so that are taking all of that great stuff that the trunk has built and really built that stability from, and then feeding from it. So if it's like insights analysts for our retail customers, there's a section doing that and going, great, all of this really core data work. How do I then take that and then use it in some way and give those insights in a particular core area? So then you might have your different fronts for retail customers, small businesses, international markets and trading and things like that. So that's kind of the analogy that I have heard. The important thing I think as well is that a good person in data should know a bit of both and get a coverage on that. So I wouldn't be too focused maybe into one, but if that gives you anything of, yeah, I want to build how people do that, or I want to take the data and do something with it, that's probably the biggest distinction. And with that, I really do have to sign off. I'm so sorry, Barbara, but thank you so much for inviting me. While I'm talking, I'm going to say my goodbyes.
Thank you so
good luck,
much.
Everyone, with these decisions. You will be great. I'm really excited to see. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Fiona, thank you.
I think maybe we have time for one more question. Okay, what do you think? And then we can.
Sorry, I think, yeah, definitely. If there's one more burning question there.
Yeah, well, there is one, and I think Fiona touched on that, and maybe Archie, from your perspective, you have also talked about it, but maybe just to sum it up, it says, what do sponsors look for most in applicants?
Yeah, sure, I can have a go at it. I think I mentioned curiosity, so that's always good because that drives passion and everything. Also, I think one thing I was going to mention, but I think I forgot, was about commitment as well. So there's a commitment required both within this particular program as well as when you go to your team, go to your work. Now, commitment to me doesn't. Two parts. When I first started working, I had a misconception around commitment. I promised to deliver this. I need to deliver this on my own, and blah 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 blah. What I've learned over the years is actually a commitment is it's teamwork. So you commit to deliver something, and you work with your people, and sometimes the best people around you to deliver that commitment. So commitment is around, we're going to deliver something, but yeah, work collaboration is key as well. So if you were to think about what do the sponsors look for, from what I know, curiosity, collaboration, commitment, both to the program or to an outcome. Yeah, and well, actually, thank you. And also, just to Ian's point, I just want to echo Ian's point as well. You don't have to. And don't worry about too much about coding or whether I'm technical or not. I used to struggle with that. I used to think that I still think I'm not that technical compared to a lot of my colleagues. But the bottom line is that's probably not important. What's more important is your I guess your drive to deliver. So yeah, for me it's curiosity, commitment, collaboration, as well as I guess personal passion. Yes, somewhat related to curiosity.
Barbara, maybe I'll jump in here as well. I think from the point of view of the students, you've been working for all of your school career towards an outcome that is very much based on a result, a number. Yeah, I've got to get the ATAR that I want to get in to the university I want, or to the degree that I want. I've got to get that number. I think what you've heard tonight, and I think what's so important to remember, that as you move out of that system and into the university system, and particularly looking towards the graduate, your career, is that technical skills are important. Absolutely. You're going to get those through your university degree. But what the sponsors and the students have talked about is so much more than that. So it's the professional, it's the soft skills that go along with the technical skills that you're going to learn, and the academics that you're going to do, that are so important in a career. And I think all the words that are used, the curiosity, the passion, the commitment, these are all about you as a person. So what you have to remember is that you're coming to university not just to get a degree. You're coming to university to broaden your opportunities, and so that you actually leave university not just as a graduate of a degree, but you leave university as a balanced and really broadly based individual that can move in any of these career circles. And I think that's the thing that you also heard tonight. There's so much opportunity to move between, and you guys will all move. You won't have straight line careers, none of you. Your careers are going to be like, they're going to wind around. They're going to be like rivers, all those intersecting highways that you saw in the beginning. So it's as important to build the professional, the soft skills that carry you into any area, as well as building some technical skills that you will learn and grow. And the last point for me is, one of the other great things about university is it teaches you how to learn, and that takes you forward anywhere in your future. Yeah, learn to learn while you're at university, and you'll be able to move anywhere into your future. So thanks, Babs.
Thank you so much, Kay. I think we can conclude with that. That was beautiful. I just want to say a huge thanks to everyone, to all our speakers tonight, Archie, Christine, Kay, of course, Jess and Ian. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for attending.